prepared to tolerate several, if not all, forms of intimidation during this trial, and you're listening to Slurmcast, a podcast for no reason. Today we'll be discussing Broadcast Season 8, Episode 5, Silence of the Clamps. My name is Michelle Burlingame. With me are Tommy Roulette.
Yes, I'm present.
Pete Woodward.
That's me.
And our guest today is Matt Meister.
Hello.
Hello.
So you guys might be wondering who the hell Matt is. Matt
Who,
is,
us?
Yeah.
As in
And
the
probably
listeners?
the listeners and both
Michelle
of you.
and myself.
So I got a guest for the show.
I think both may be correct.
So we met in Tulsa, Oklahoma in November.
Of all the places.
I know, and they didn't even really name that whole weekend. It was just a crazy extravaganza with Descendants and all, and lots of crazy bands and fun people from all over the world. And as it turns out, Matt and his wife Emily are from here, and we had to go to Oklahoma to actually meet.
Which is, we've actually met a few times, but I'm an incredibly forgettable person. So, but that's okay.
There's a good chance if it was like at shows or something that I was probably pretty fuzzy. But I know you have like a work coat with the Futurama patch on it, and I've seen you at shows going, I probably should talk to that guy about coming on the show. So I know it comes back around that way.
Sure.
And I was thinking about it today, and like since we met, like both you and Emily have messaged us or like posted on the show and participated. That's basically how Michelle became a host. Mm-hmm. So if something happens to one of us, you guys are like, you're already on track.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so this will be good. It can't be worse than sitting in a room full of teenagers all day, right? Anyway, Happy New Year, guys.
Hey,
This is gonna come out in like February, but it's the
it's
first
only
one.
It's been 2 weeks. It's been 2019 for 2 weeks.
It has, and
It's been
And for you guys, it's probably been like a month.
easy.
yeah.
I just got back from South Carolina, which was weird. It was nice. I've got a good off-mic story to tell you about it, too.
Oh, good.
Oh boy.
But, it started, so I'll be hitting the road again probably soon, and we'll probably keep up this bi-weekly thing for a while, I think. But that being said, I was happy to get back into the groove of things and watch this episode the other day.
Yeah, I watched this yesterday, actually.
Me, too. Instead of my usual Sunday.
I've watched it like 18 times in the last 3 months because I keep thinking we're actually going to catch up with these episodes and record every week. So I'll just start watching whatever one we're about to do an episode on, and then
cancel for 4 weeks.
The Hulu autoplay just keeps going, and I'm like, well, I'll watch the next one. I'll be a week early, and then I should just know better at this point.
I've had to break it up, and then you just from offhanded comments got me into a bunch of dumb true crime podcasts that have been eating up my time. I'm developing a real resentment of Payne Lindsay and the amount of hours he's like eating up of my life, but at least it's entertaining.
Just wait until you see the Up and Vanished Oxygen special. You can actually look at his infuriating hipster face.
No.
Even though he's great and I love his podcast, that dude is kind of
a cliche.
Very much a cliche.
Arm garters.
No, not that kind of hipster.
Does he have like a green glass visor?
Not like that kind of hipster. Like, I don't know. You'll see.
Like a podcasting documentarian. That
I
kind
guess.
of hipster. I can imagine. Theater of the mind. I liked the way this episode started with a flip around on the professor's regular line.
Who likes good news?
Yeah.
Everyone.
But then followed up immediately with Fry. They're all excited that they don't have to go anywhere on this delivery other than Earth, which again retcons something that happened a few episodes ago where Fry was delivering pizzas every Friday to Applied Cryogenics, also on Earth. But he's all bent out of shape about the fact that he fell off his chair once and Earth is dangerous.
Earth is dangerous. I fell off my chair there once.
That kind of stuff. I on the grand scheme of things, this very much felt like sort of a popcorn throwaway episode, but I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. There was just a lot of sort of referential jokes and it's a classic stuff, and then off it goes.
A lot of callbacks to minor cast, like just background figures.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, at the Don Bott's daughter's wedding.
Yes.
That's where they're delivering their package. They don't even have to leave New York. They're just going to Long Island.
and it's like they really kind of blend up, I think, like both stuff from The Godfather and The Sopranos on this. I mean, this is just like, let's throw in all the mafia cliches.
At that Don Bot wedding, you see tons and tons of side characters that
Mayor Poopenmeyer.
There's Fanny's in there. That wasn't very many episodes ago, or was it? I don't remember.
Even the whole thing where like Bender's just disguises himself in a tracksuit. What was his line about that? He's the owner of disguise. But they're looking through the gate. Like they go to deliver the Clamps' new clamps.
Francis X. Clampazzo.
There ain't nobody here by that name.
By that alias. That's even better.
All of that stuff made me laugh so much.
The term snitch juice kind of grossed me out.
Yeah.
And I always watch everything with the captions on.
Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
And the caption said Hoffa juice.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
It said snitch
no.
juice. So I wonder if it was this like one of those ones where they changed the line after the fact?
I don't know. It
And
could
didn't
be.
change the script.
The transcript says snitch juice, which I believe is probably someone sat while watching the episode and typed it all up. So I don't know. Yeah, Hoffa juice, huh?
That makes
I'll have to
me
look into that. That's a better joke, but I wonder why they couldn't make it.
The estate of Jimmy Hoffa. Probably.
I mean,
they're alleging that he was a snitch. That word snitch reminds me of previous guest Sean Jaundas's old band Prison Snitch, which was just
No, it was.
yeah.
Was it Prison
It was
Snitch?
Prison Snitch, which is a great name for a band, and I think they lasted like 2 shows after a year and a half of practicing.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted him to call the band Oh Dear, and it was a short second. Like I hold out hope that somebody will just like. Yeah, you've got like Fucked Up and these other bands that just like, we're going to be super transgressive with our names in like a cutesy fun way. Just like, oh dear. And then have it be like a G.G. Allen-esque extravaganza where it's just like a Ned Flanders Oh Fiddlesticks and it's just like completely insane off the rails stuff. But even when Joey Mousepad opens the gate and they're asking where Clamps is, he's like, "May I help you with some assistance?" Like just the verbal loops they jump through doing the mafia cliches made me laugh so much in this episode. Like it was really good. But that's the point where Bender looks through the gate and sees Calculon and the Robot Devil like in an open bar.
What's not to crash?
what's not to
Oddly enough, the off-mic story I have to tell you guys involves an open bar, too. Just saying.
You're just teasing the listeners because they'll never hear it.
I know. They'll have to come and see us in person somewhere, and then I'll be happy to tell them. Like Calculon as the booked entertainment, but then singing his own, like...
Calculon.
his anthemic song about... his own
Who's that
wonders.
singing at your wedding? It's Calculon. Calculon.
Do you think he wrote that, or did he make it up on the spot? Like, was it kind of a scat situation?
Oh, he probably paid somebody to write that for
Yeah,
him.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
There's no way Calculon came up with that on his own.
And the first version was probably like a real song, and he was probably like, "No, change.
It's got to be
It's
more
a
about
little
me.
bit more about me."
But it's all about you two this weekend. This is your day.
What was the daughter that was getting married? What was her name?
Ooh, what was it?
And maybe it doesn't matter, but like Bender disguises himself in the tracksuit and just kind of walks in and saunters around, and apparently nobody notices. He's just like, "Hey, ho, how are you?" Whatever. And then he's like trying to hit on any woman he sees.
She doesn't have a name.
The daughter that got married.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's the
the
eldest.
bride.
The older
She's
daughter.
the eldest daughter.
Gotcha. But hits on Fanny, and she's like, "I was your girlfriend. Don't you remember?"
We had an affair.
Well, I don't want to hit on anybody I already had sex with, which is really good advice to live by, I think. I mean,
then he sees the other daughter, Bella, and he says, "What about you? You're my third choice."
And she just beams at that.
Yes.
She loves that.
she's the youngest. She's probably been overlooked her entire life. and she rings like a bell whenever she moves, which was another just nice touch where it's like...
Which led to a really good joke later where he's like, hold on to your clapper.
Yeah.
Because that just got my mind wandering.
Well, I mean, where could the clapper be? Was her... I mean, are we to assume that her skirt was the bell?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think so.
I'm sorry I've got a lozenge in my mouth, but I'd rather that than coughing. I know it's a little click-clacky. I don't mean to bum you out, listeners. So that was it. They go off into the barn to make out, and then Donbot and Clamps and Calculon come in, and all hell breaks loose. But he's quiet. I'm making out with the floozy again. I feel. I mean, as it's likely I'm entering the dating world again, I think all of these are good things for me to like take in and know. Like, it's endearing, right?
I guess.
So I have a question about so they were making out in a barn, but it was a seahorse barn.
With sea oats.
With sea oats. And there was a sign that said, "Do not put seahorses away dry."
Well, you're the horse person.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, you never put a horse away wet. 'Cause, like, you ever seen Black Beauty?
No,
like,
but
they can get, like, if a horse is all sweaty, like, you put them away and they're all worked up and sweaty, they can get sick and
I mean,
bad.
I've encountered a lot of people lately that look like they've been ridden hard and put away wet, but that just says more about the company I keep than anything else.
Yeah.
What kind of sickness can I get? Is it like skin allergy?
Watch Black Beauty. I don't want to go into it. It's like if it's kind of like going outside with wet hair. Like it's just like if it's cold and your hair's wet, it's worse. Like it lowers your blood.
But if you're putting them away, theoretically, wouldn't they still?
No, because if it's hot, if they're hot and it's cold outside and they're covered in sweat and their blood is pumping and they cool down too fast, they can get sick because it's cold and they're
they get
wet.
Cold blood.
You put a blanket on them when they're sweaty so that they just fucking watch Black Beauty, okay? You'll understand.
She used
You'll
to compete
cry
on horseback with stuff. That's like it's just firsthand experience and unwilling to share the knowledge. I'm a little bummed out.
You have to dry the sweat off.
Is that just because it's traumatic or it's just gross?
A little bit.
Or both?
It's. I mean, it is both.
So just
But
taking
it's just-
inventory at this point, we've got some really good dating advice from Bender and
Horse
basic
advice.
veterinarian care.
But like, at what point in
This
the
podcast delivers.
what point in the future did seahorses replace horses, and why is my question. Like, and why would a robot have a barn full of seahorses?
I think the answer to that really, I mean, if you think about it, knowing Donbot and the fact that it's sort of like a mafioso cliche, it's probably just an extravagant show of like conspicuous consumerism. Like, I have a bunch of horses that I can't even ride, nor would I want to. They're very expensive to maintain and thoroughly impractical, but I've got 20 of them in here in this outbuilding in my house, which is really just a front for a murder shed or a maiming shed, really.
True. That's true.
I mean, horses make a lot of noise. They cover up smells. Do they smell worse if you put them away wet?
I mean, they smells like sweat, like horse sweat, which actually, I don't know, probably doesn't smell as bad as human sweat does, depending on the human. I'm just saying.
I mean, that's
Like,
it's true.
fair
it's true.
point.
Like, and horse poop, like it's basically just digested grass and dried grass.
It still smells like
smells, but it's not like cow shit where it's like
digested grass.
no, because it's different. It's digested differently. Like horse poop, it will literally dry and turn back into dirt. Like it doesn't just stay like a big giant pile of shit. And
How many stomachs
acid.
do horses have?
12.
One.
I heard 12 and I heard 1. Do you want to take a
Let's
guess?
split the
It's
difference.
somewhere between
Let's
those.
split the
It's one of-
difference and say 8.
Well, because cows have 3, right?
4.
Really?
Yeah, I'm feeling like Zoidberg here, giving basic anatomy to things. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But cows have 4 stomachs. I'll die
They've
on that
got
hill.
like cows do the whole cud thing. I don't know shit about cows, but
You can't take Shows to compete against William Shatner, can you?
I mean, I don't think he's got cows either.
He might. He's Canadian. Anyway, clamps the hell out of Calculon, which just seems very awful.
Yes.
He has to break in those new clamps.
Oh, they seem. I mean, I'd almost think that. Do you think there's a performance issue that happens when they get all covered with snitch juice and crusted? Because at the same time, like if you were going to torture somebody or maim them, excuse me, wouldn't like a rusty device be more like?
A rusty device would probably hurt more. However, if you were the rusty device, it'd be a lot more difficult to maim somebody.
True.
So he's excited to break in these clamps on Calculon.
Like, I'm just not that I've never.
I think they're like shoes, or like you got to wear them in. Like the new ones are probably a little stiff,
Yeah.
but having old rusty hands.
I'm thinking of it more from the perspective, and I've never tortured anyone professionally, so this is all conjecture. But
To be honest, I honestly think that new, cleaner clamps would cause more damage because there would be no or less resistance in clamping them down.
Probably less wear and tear, and
The rust is going to prohibit from getting your maximum clamp.
That's kind of my point, though.
like having arthritis.
Right, but suppose you had, okay, you got a well-maintained chef's knife, and you go to slice into, say, a big roast. If it's well-maintained, it's got a sharp edge, it's going to be a razor. It's a surgical cut, slice, it's off, it's done. If you got sort of a dull, nicked, rusty blade, and you try and cut it, if you're the roast, it's going to be way more unpleasant as you're kind of hacking away.
Yeah,
and
but you're
sawing
comparing
through it.
a sharp edge and rust to a flat edge.
No. I'm talking about any, like, say you had a pair of pliers or like if
Yeah, let's get a pair of
understand-
pliers, brand new ones and
Or
rusty
rusty
ones,
ones.
and let's pinch you and see which hurts more.
The rusty ones are going to have a rougher texture. It's going to leave stuff stuck in your skin. It's going to probably open you up to infections. That's what I'm saying. Like, if your purpose is to torture and maim someone,
But a
using-
robot,
well, true.
robots can't get infections.
And
or
also, remember, from Clamps'
Look.
point of view, he's a professional. He's taking pride in this job
But,
well done.
but to be fair, robots do all kinds of shit that robots shouldn't do on this show. So
Also true.
there's that. I don't know. I'm just saying, if I were to be a professional torturer, I'd sort of make it a hallmark to use dirty, shitty tools.
Oh, see, mine would be pristine, clean, nice carrying case.
it's like you've never watched Dexter at all.
Yeah.
Dexter was an anal retentive freak. I mean, what about, have you watched Barry with the
Yes.
weird
Oh,
Chechnyans and stuff?
Yeah. That
You
show's
know?
good. If you don't watch Barry, go watch Barry. Sign up for HBO and binge season 1 of Barry because that
I will
show
in April.
fucking rules.
And lots of WMMS t-shirts abound because Barry's from Cleveland.
Yep.
He's a murderous sociopath with a change of heart.
I'm familiar with
That's great.
the show. Bill Hader, right?
Yeah. I okay. Agree to disagree on this one.
We will.
It was a
Also, you're wrong.
It was a conceptual.
Well, I think
Question.
the major flaw in your point is that Clamps is also sentient. So you're thinking of you're thinking of him as a weapon instead of like the user of the weapon.
Can't you be
like
both?
what's more unpleasant, hacking someone with like a really sharp knife or hacking someone with a dull knife?
It depends
Dull knife.
on how much pain you want to inflict. If you get off on the discomfort of the other person, then a dull knife is going to hurt them more.
But what if you are the knife?
That's what I'm saying. Like, would you rather punch someone in the face with a really good hand or punch someone in the face with a broken hand?
With the bone sticking out, because that would hurt the other person more.
It would, but it would hurt me
But
too.
it would hurt you a lot.
Yeah.
Good point, Michelle. I've come around to your way of seeing things.
Okay.
So when Calculon's unfortunate accident gets announced, this is maybe one of my favorite lines on this show ever. 2-time Oscar Pool winner, Calculon.
Morbo for the win.
I had to rewind it just to make sure that I heard it right, but it was so good. Another great Bender potential grading line, boo-hoo, dating line, boo-hoo, I'm so scared and great at sex. Which, I mean, that's almost like foreshadowing Big Mouth or something. Like, that line could totally just be on that.
Oh, we missed one of the better gags in this episode where when Bender is witnessing Calculon's beating, and Bella says, yeah, Daddy hates Welchers. The only thing he hates worse is witnesses. And then Bender's like, and then she says, and guys who mess around with his daughters. And he goes, and then she goes, and attempt to duplicate his meatball recipe. And then he opens up his chest cavity and has like meatballs cooking in his chest cavity.
Oh, nuts. Venison meatballs, Michelle.
I don't have any ground venison left, but we can
grind some
a
up.
couple steaks, and I've got some backstrap, and I have breakfast sausage that I already cooked.
Oh shit!
That is now leftovers that I'm eating every morning.
For you listeners, there's Michelle came into a windfall of deer meat.
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of venison in my freezer right now.
Not for long, you don't.
On a related note, she doesn't have a car anymore. No, I meant that she hit this deer with her car. But that's not really what happened.
No.
She has a seahorse.
That she never puts away dry.
No.
Never. I would never.
They could get sick, apparently. Just going back to Bender's whole anything for a buck ability, snitching on the mafia goons for the $50 reward. See, I mean, I figure he would try and roll them for even more. I mean, he does. He's like, "Can you give me more?" And they're like, "No," and he does it anyway.
Right.
Which plays back into these damn true crime podcasts.
Yeah. So the agent that is talking to Bender about witnessing Calculon's beating, his name is Robot Stack, like Robert Stack,
and just all of his
mysteries.
Well, I think wasn't he prior to Unsolved Mysteries? I thought he played like a gumshoe detective. Like that was basically what he was typecast as forever and ever.
He was
What was he on?
he played Elliot Ness in the
Untouchables?
in the
Oh,
TV
no
show.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like a double whammy then, because because Don Bott's really more like a John Gotti, Tony Soprano, Al Capone type. So that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
That's he was good though. I wish they could have like thrown in some of the Unsolved Mysteries theme underneath him or something though. That spooky music. Which show had spookier music? Unsolved Mysteries or In Search Of?
I don't remember.
I think In Search of did. I think Unsolved Mysteries was mostly like 80s.
It was like a backwards Knight Rider.
Yeah.
Whereas In Search Of had like crescendoing Moog, you know, like kind of proto X-Files. You know, a lot grittier because it was all analog and you know, top of the line 70s technology when they made it. It terrified me. The intro sequence to that show scared the shit out of me.
Unsolved Mysteries, and that I used to like if I didn't change the channel in time before that came on, like I would be terrified just from the music.
I mean, it was almost like the Halloween theme song. That's really what they kind of get back to. It's like that, just that repeating motif of din 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 din.
Well, you also had Leonard Nimoy.
Yes.
So
6 of one, half dozen of the other. I mean, you need like a TJ Hooker to do a palate cleanser on that or something. So I guess based on Bender's testimony, they take, do they try clamps or Donbot?
It's the Donbot on trial.
So they bring Donbot on trial as the head of the organization.
Yeah.
And Judge 723 starts to make a very strict proclamation about not dealing with any witness tampering.
And organized crime is a plague on our society, and he won't tolerate any form of intimidation.
Until he gets shot in the head and exploded, but then Judge 724 rolls right up behind him. It was like, what does the judge say? It's like, I'll allow it or something.
I'd like to say I'm prepared to tolerate several, if not all, forms of intimidation during this trial.
That was your intro line for the show. It all
Yes.
comes back. Okay. And Joey Mousepad's like screwing around inside someone's head.
I'd like to
Fatbot.
declare a...
It was Fatbot's
It was
head?
Fatbot's head.
Oh,
yeah.
poor Fatbot.
The entire jury pool makes absolutely no sense because these are all people who have relationships to the principals. They would have been excluded as having. I mean, there were 2 members of the All My Circuits cast on that jury.
Who?
There was
Boxy Robot and
Hermaphrodot, the chain smoker, the hair robot. Hedonism bot is the foreman,
Yes.
apparently. Yeah, that's...
Fatbot.
Fatbot is being tampered. He's being tampered with.
And there wasn't 12 of them either, was there?
No,
Maybe Robot Court has different rules.
it has to. It must because I mean the fact that Bender was testifying in one court and then they did the Scooby-Doo wall gag and he's in another court on
that
trial
was-
and then back.
That was beautiful too. Just hit the button and pop around.
Burgle larceny.
So that would be breaking into something,
Burglary,
burning
arson,
it
and
down,
larceny.
and then taking as much stuff in the burglary that it exceeded a certain threshold. Is that how that all, or would it be like stealing a car on the way out of the arson burglary?
All I know is he was not in a guilty scent.
And Hyper Chicken Lawyer comes back.
Yes.
Bro, I love him so much. Just such a distinguished Southern gentleman that likes corn so much.
And it's another throwback to the idea that was brought up a couple episodes ago about Futurama, Andy Griffith, the tie-ins, because that chicken is Andy Griffith as Matlock.
He is.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I would love to see Andy Griffith in a chicken suit. Is he dead?
I don't think so.
No, he must be.
I think so.
I thought he was dead.
I hope he not.
If he's not, oh, shit.
He might be out.
But that doubles down
Oh,
on
yeah,
it because
he-
later on there's a Don Knotts.
He died
Yeah.
in 2012.
Oh, shit.
So it wasn't that long ago.
No.
7 years, Tom.
Almost 7 years. Unless he died in the
He
first.
died 7 years
weeks
ago today.
Of,
July 3rd, 2012.
okay,
Pretty close.
so
6.5 years
6.5
ago today.
years. Almost.
Well, and so Bella brings wedding cakes to court because Bender totally ghosted on her. Like she's all in. So that's another reason I wonder about Bender's dating advice because like when he does hook up with someone, they seem to go like all in immediately, and not just for plot devices either. I mean, maybe it's just for plot devices. I'm probably reading too much into it, but maybe there were 12 jurors because when they come back from deliberation, Hedonism Bot says after a steamy 12-way deliberation. So,
There might have been.
Probably just
You
didn't
might
show
not have
them
seen them all.
yeah. Not all at once.
that was the line. The prosecution roosts.
Yeah.
Does it? And we're getting up towards the end of the thing. Does Robot Chicken survive? Not Robot Chicken. Does Hyper Chicken Lawyer survive until the end of the series, or does he wind up in a bucket somewhere?
As far as I know, I don't know when he comes back.
I don't think he ever dies.
Okay.
At least
so we
not
can just
canonically.
imagine. We can just imagine that he's not in a big bucket of Super KFC or something.
I don't know. I guess not.
All right. Anyway,
The people have moved on to poplars.
yeah, that's true. Which I think we determined were basically like popcorn shrimp. But we'll see. I have to revisit that. Anyway, the Dombot gets off because Calculon says his wounds were self-inflicted. Because he is a big idiot Hollywood dumb guy. What does that sort of thing?
perfect.
What did he said? This is my personal trainer who trained me to say this. I love it, and that's more of that. Just like that whole. I mean, they're clearly just going over and above and making fun of it, but like the over enunciation of things to try and sound more, I don't know, educated or important or whatever. I kind of dealt with a little bit that recently, and it's weird because it's just like just say it. Just you don't need to get flowery. Purple prose doesn't go anywhere with me, but it just keeps on coming, and it hurts my brain. But it makes me laugh in this show, so that's good. But because of all of this, basically, Bender is on Donbot's shit list, and Donbot tells Bella to get a black dress for the wedding, which goes completely over her head.
That's gonna be hot.
And of course, at the end, she shows up in that black dress. So
Yeah.
she's totally
Oh my God.
not
She
self-aware.
does, yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize that. At which point?
Oh, well, I don't want to give it away.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll get there.
We'll get
Yeah.
there.
But yeah, so they got to put Bender in the witness relocation program. And
Just until the mafia finds him
yeah,
and
right.
kills him because they're good at that.
But as he's saying his goodbyes, again, it gets into. I think this is the part of the episode where it really turns and becomes a Zoidberg goldmine.
Yeah.
Like there's so much fucking prime Zoidberg in this. With just Zoidberg, I know it seems like I can't stand you.
Moves on.
that was beautiful. Was the agency that Agent Robot Stack worked for the EBI?
Yes.
EBI, yes.
What
and
is
their ship was shaped like a fedora UFO.
what is was it the Earth Bureau?
Bureau of
Investigation.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yes. I it literally took me till just now to figure that out. Okay, good. I got it. But so now they got to replace Bender at Planet Express.
Anyone will do.
Yeah, like literally, no one could possibly be worse than him. And Clamp applies for the jobs. But who? There was more people in the waiting room. Wasn't that like another character menagerie?
It was pretty much every robot other than Tinny Tim who was not on the jury.
Okay.
So we had Andrew, the hold up man, the stick up man from
Isaac,
About right. From the Love Boat.
helper, spotty teen robot. They were all in there.
And they all kind of broke when Hermes came back out. Imagine that. He's good at clamping, crimping, and the occasional snipping, and that sends Zoidberg into a fucking rage.
and he never gets over that rage the entire episode.
No, that's
It's
literally
beautiful.
the only thing he can do unquestionably well. Sometimes too well. Like he's clipped and snipped so many things that don't shouldn't be. Those claws of his are dangerous, and then to have somebody else come in and a robot, no less. I understand where he's coming from, but that whole sequence of Clamps just sort of getting by the little montage.
Yeah. Well, Fry says,
Colonel Mustard Gas.
yeah, Fry, well, Clamp says, that guy can bite my shiny metal clamps. Fry says, you remind me of my old friend Bender. Clamps goes, oh yeah, where does he safely live?
And then Fry's just like, I don't know.
I don't know.
You want to come over to my house and play? Like a child.
Who was it? Zoidberg who said "not like you" with those magnificent squeezers? Or was it someone? Because that was another line where
Yes.
it's just like
That's where the two of them face off, and it gets violent.
it was so good. But they have to take a delivery to the moon. We haven't been to the moon in a long time, and then we get this whole other, revisitation with the Moon Hillbilly and the Crushinator.
Crushinator.
But I love the fact that the sheriff on the moon is Mr. Furley,
Right.
But as Barney, like it's a full on Don Knotts, and I just fucking love Don Knotts. I don't know if it's possible to have grown up in the years that we did and not have anything but like a deep affection for him. Does that translate even down to you, Michelle, or was it just past your time or before
It does to me, but I might be an exception to the rule.
Did you watch a lot
Just
of
'cause
Apple
I-
Dumpling Gang as a kid, or
No,
Three's Company?
I watched a lot of Three's Company. I watched a lot of Andy Griffith's show on TV Land, and you know what they play on TV Land these days?
What?
Friends.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's
And,
like
like-
20 years old.
Like Will and Grace and Friends, and I was like, but I want to watch like Andy Griffith and Bewitched and all those old good shows. And,
wow.
They don't really play them on TV.
Are
Land
they even
anymore.
syndicated anymore, or is it?
Probably somewhere. Like I think Logo now plays Laverne and Shirley, which I've been watching a lot since Penny Marshall died. I've been watching a lot of Laverne and Shirley.
I made her a sandwich once.
Penny Marshall?
Yeah. And like it was when I worked at the deli in Columbus, and it was very strange at this particular place because it was like 2 blocks away from the Newport.
Okay.
So, with Newport's like a 1,500 person music venue theater type place. So,
It's like the Beachland.
yeah, and if you're not from Cleveland, just like a House of Bluesy type sized place if you have one by you. So a lot of times the bands would, they'd show up and then we'd be like the closest place to get food that wasn't like McDonald's. So we had a whole wall of like receipts of famous people were over. But this one day, and I didn't even call her out on it, but this lady comes up with some younger woman, and I look at her, and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, it's Penny Marshall. And then she talks, and it's Penny Marshall's voice. And then the woman she's with, who I assume is a niece or a daughter or whatever, is talking about Ma Reiner. I'm like, motherfucker, this is Penny Marshall. Like, she's wearing a baseball jersey shirt and just very cash and low key and whatever. I didn't want to even call attention to it, but I'm like, I made Penny Marshall a fucking sandwich. I get to take that to my grave. It's I didn't realize she was so goddamn old.
She choked on it 20 minutes later.
Pete killed
then I-
Penny
then
Marshall.
I gave her
she
the
was only
Heimlich.
in her. She's like 72.
That's
Not that old.
I mean, I just picture her being like 35 forever.
You should have like picked. Do you have beverages at this sandwich shop?
get, like, milk and
Just like a
Pepsi.
Pepsi and then a milk in the other hand, and look at her like, huh?
Ah. She gave me a Brooklyn salute, and that was that. So that's weird though. That because if anything, you think Logo would have Will and Grace locked up.
They do. They
Okay.
play Will and Grace.
She was 75.
Oh, close enough. Still, that's not that old.
I mean, it
was
is,
young.
but it's not.
She's pretty young to die.
She didn't seem. I mean, fuck it. Iggy Pop's like 72 at this point, so like all bets are off. You just look. You can't. It's not the same. My grandmother looked like she was 80 from the time she was 40, but I don't know.
Well, it's tough too because she had diabetes, and I guess it was complications of diabetes that actually took her out.
Too much
Yeah.
milk and Pepsi.
Yeah, there it is. So, or maybe it was that sandwich you made her.
She had,
maybe you did kill
It was,
Penny
it was
Marshall.
a slow drug.
It was the slow drug of the sandwich.
Well, she also had heart problems.
Well, yeah, she could never find love.
Yeah, Iggy Pop is 71.
He's as old as my mom, which is just such a weird thing. But like, I guess it all works out. The whole point is, here's a life lesson. Words to live by, folks. If you have an opportunity to see somebody in person, whether it's a performer or a comedian or a musician or whatever, and you go, I'll get him next time, go do it this time, because you never know when fentanyl's going to strike again, like it knocked out Prince and Tom Petty and Michael Jackson and everybody else. But like, especially with a lot of these classic performers are getting up there, they could literally drop
Or
it any minute,
suicide also.
right?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Like Chris Cornell
Yeah.
and Anthony Bourdain. Like all this, man, it's crazy. Life is rough. So go enjoy it and tell the people you like that you like them.
Whoa,
Pay
we
money
still
to
have-
see them.
Also, we're getting on a down note here, and we're not even done with this episode yet.
we don't want to bum you out to the end. Sorry.
Who else is dead?
Isn't
Let's just start naming people that have
Isn't
died.
Cindy Williams dead?
No,
No.
she is not.
Oh, no,
She's
not.
left to mourn. That's
She-
even
yeah.
sadder.
Oh.
She's alive and kicking, and
She's only like
hosting,
71.
Yeah, she's hosting a.
She took the job from Kevin Hart.
No, she's hosting a Laverne and Shirley marathon at like the ArcLight or something.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Is
It's
it
like a
though?
12-hour Laverne and Shirley marathon.
That's so many episodes because they're
appearing.
only like 20 minutes long each, right?
Well, I've gotten through starting on Christmas Day, which is when I was like, oh shit, Logo's playing Laverne and Shirley all day today. I'm gonna set that up on my DVR because I have Sling now, and I paid for the extra for DVR. I was like, I'm gonna set that up since I just got Sling, and then I just did a little boop 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 on my phone. I got home and I had like 20 episodes of Laverne and Shirley to watch on Christmas Day, and when I was on vacation. So
that being
so
said,
there's a lot.
so when you watch 20 episodes of Laverne and Shirley in a row, or we'll say 10 episodes.
I've
of Laverne and Shirley.
watched from season 3. I'm almost done with season 7. I took a little bit of a break. But
How many seasons do they have?
When they moved from Milwaukee to
LA.
LA, I took a little bit of a break.
It got weird.
And then they got there's like
Yeah, I
2
don't-
more seasons in LA.
It's just
was
not
weird.
the same.
Yeah.
Even with Sonny dropping the guy who had his door
Mm-hmm.
bricked up so he could just drop down the balconies, which is totally preposterous too.
Yeah.
But from episode to episode, or even story arc, how much variation is there in every episode? It seems like it was
Well,
kind of a cookie cutter plot thing.
It kind of was, but also like the one question that I always think is like, why didn't Shirley ever just get together with Carmine?
He's the big ragu.
Angel Face, he's always like Angel Face, and every
Yeah.
time there's like a really sweet romantic episode with like Shirley and Carmine, the next episode it's like, oh, Laverne and Shirley are going out with 2 doctors.
Almost like
It's
Fry
like
and
they-
Leela.
Yeah, it's like they never got Shirley and Carmine together. It was just like when it was convenient, they're a couple. But when when Laverne and Shirley want to go on a double date, nobody's going steady with anybody anymore.
There's things from that show, and I know we're rolling off the rails a little bit here.
Hey, we've hardly rambled this episode.
Okay.
We've got plenty of time to ramble.
I know that Lenny and Squiggy had a bathtub full of pudding,
Yes.
which I don't know that I'd like to own one, but I'd definitely like to get in one at some point. And then Laverne and Shirley lived in a 1-bedroom apartment with 2 single beds.
Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine, do you think Lenny and Squiggy did too? Did they ever show
They
their
had
bedrooms?
bunk beds.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So can you
They
imagine?
show their apartment all the time.
So, would you even consider, after getting out of college and dorm life, even considering that shit?
Depends what rent is.
No.
I mean, what if rent was super expensive?
In
That was
Milwaukee in the
Milwaukee,
60s?
Oh, okay.
Really? Not even the,
I
was
don't
it
know.
the 60s? Like, that's the other thing about Laverne and Shirley. Like,
it was from it's a Happy Days spinoff, and I
Yeah.
think it's like 1960 through 68 or something.
so when they were in Los Angeles, it was like pre-Summer of Love?
It would have been right
Yeah,
about that
yeah.
time.
Okay.
They go on the dating game. Well, Lenny and Squiggy go on the dating game.
I love Lenny and Squiggy. I always have.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be a band around here called Squiggy.
Michael McKean is the best.
David Lander's pretty great too. Mm-hmm. And has suffered a lot of health challenges and is still just kicking.
Yeah,
so.
he's got what is it, MS?
I think so, yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like those 2 guys are guys that whenever they pop up in something, I was just like, I can sit and watch this. It's like I mean, especially after Michael McKean became part of like the Christopher Guest ensemble.
Spinal Tap. And
Yeah. I mean, it's just I feel bad for the guys like Carmine because he never really kind of came around after that.
You know what's weird to
he
think
goes
about?
to be on Broadway and disappears from the
show.
The show during season
He
7. I
then he
think.
disappeared forever.
We're talking about Laverne and Shirley and talking about watching that. That's like how people now, like younger kids, are watching Friends.
I know.
On TV
On
Land.
TV, yeah. It's so
Yeah.
like that's how they're catching
I
the
know.
show.
Well, this has been everybody feels old and talks about Laverne and Shirley.
Why does that guy have a monkey? It's crazy.
Also, I saw
How do they pay the rent?
Yeah.
Where are the people who aren't white?
I don't know.
Why do they keep showing the World Trade Center?
What are those two towers? Oh God, pre 2000
All right.
New York.
Futurama,
Anyways,
where were we?
Sheriff Furley.
Sheriff Burley.
I like how you didn't get drunk and steal anyone's organs. So I guess this is where it really takes a turn. They're doing their delivery on the moon and see Bender apparently in disguise, living as a moon hillbilly, married to the Crushinator.
As a
Yeah.
That
Jethrovian.
was they threw out a lot of those there. What does he say? We're in space where no one can hear you clamp.
Yeah.
So the thing that gets me is, again, coming into kind of a retcon situation. Yes, they think it's Bender, but Bender completely disavows them. But they've meant people like Flexo, who also looks like Bender. Like, there are more than just one Bender.
But also,
Yeah.
at the same time, when Fry yells Bender and Billy West, which we find out his name is actually is.
What a fake name.
Billy West. What a phony fake name.
He hightails it. Like, so you might think that when you get there,
Yeah.
like,
He's afraid to break
Maybe.
character instead of some in case some robot mafia scuzzballs are around.
Look, there were some big city hillbillies. They could have just been intimidating. And they were tired from premarital sex and flag burning.
well, I was gonna go have sex with my boyfriend, but
a burning
On a burning flag.
Amy's so awesome.
I see mashed chicken. That sounds like another job for the Instant Pot. Because you can tenderize it and flatten it before you cook it, but what if you do it after?
Just sounds like a chicken salad door or something to me.
Baby food.
To
They
me,
make-
it reminded me of the young ones when they were smashing the plates, Rick smashing the plates, and Vivian's like, "That's my recipe, you bastard."
Perfect. So even when they start asking about, well, I was born a farmer. My mama was a hoe. Super, just perhaps the dumbest joke on this show in 100-some episodes. Like, that was just...
like he ain't one of the 8 people I know or
Yeah.
I ever met.
But the other half of that was great when, "Oh, my fork's all bent. Could you unbend it for me, Billy?" And he's like, "Oh, I can't even lift it. And my dad was a forklift."
And so he's very committed to his Jethrovian identity. And then who is it? The professor says, "I refuse to believe anyone is happy."
Yeah, it's when they're riding back into town in the old clunker, which is the Crushinator, is like their car. She turns into a truck and then they're driving back and Professor looks at Billy West's hard drive and sees that he has no previous memories of them. Which
Well,
how can you tell by shining a flashlight on a spinning hard drive what's on said
All right,
hard
so,
drive?
okay.
That makes me angry every time I watch this episode.
Why don't you explain to me the process of bumpkinization then, Michelle? And then we can
Well,
talk about
see-
whether or not a flashlight would
You
work.
see, I know that I'm like season 1 peating this episode right now,
Yes.
where I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
This is bullshit.
It makes me angry.
I'm just beaten down by life. I had 3 seasons before you to just like lose my fucking will to live. But it's just so Clamps decides he's gonna kill him, and it turns into this high noon thing. But Zoidberg, just fucking rage-filled, vengeful Zoidberg, is just
John fucking Zoidberg.
That's the one.
I
of
do
my
the cutting around here. Like, and I didn't realize that's where this meme was. Like, I'd seen the shirts and everything, but like, he never said his name was John Zoidberg before, did he?
No,
Yeah.
he has.
There's been, I think there has been an episode before where his first name was revealed. They use it now more. They'll use it again, and
They'll keep coming back.
In a taste for freedom. Here's a Red Lobster that won't ruin your dinner. John Zoidberg.
yes, you're right. You're right.
And professors called him John before.
That's so weird. Calling him anything.
There's
but
another
Zoidberg is
episode
just
that coming
weird.
up
Oh,
where
yeah.
he refers to him John, like
the entire
like
episode.
that's all he. That's
Yeah.
all he's ever referred to him as. It's weird.
Yeah.
But I had no idea his middle name was fucking. That was new.
Well, even when they're all kind of sitting and watching the, the high noon duel, and the professor's just staring the other way because he can't see. That was beautiful. It turned into a real all-you-can-kill lobster fest.
That was for a limited time.
And he rages out. He gets his fin on top.
Drop the robot.
Our friend Francis here is in reality a bad murderer. and as it happens, Bella shows up in the black dress.
Yes.
There it is.
Yep.
So how did
She's got a black veil on. Too.
did they all come because Clamps notified them that Bender was
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Clamps calls them like video calls them on a screen when they first see Bender.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So they make the trip.
Well, Bender. Quote,
Billy
finger
West.
quotes.
Billy
Billy
West,
West. Yeah.
How ironic would it be if Billy West was actually Flexo that had been like bumpkinized? Because the last time we saw Flexo, he was getting thrown out. With,
Yeah, and I
the
think that
obsolete robots.
is the last time Flexo. But Flexo's got the goatee. So
He could have shaved it off though,
I don't know.
because remember they swapped it. It's magnetic, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, the one
Or something like that.
Bender had on his face was magnetic.
I can't keep up with it. It's very, very confusing at this point. Oh my god! For being as hung up as I was on logical story continuity for as long as I was, now I just don't care, and it's not even rolling with it, enjoying it with it. It's just like whatever. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's like I'm gonna go think about a bathtub full of pudding now.
Yeah, so after that, their crawdad done saved Billy West's life. Bella shows up with a gun, and she calls him a two-timing jerk, and says she puts off her singing career for him, and if I can't have you, no one can. And then Bella shoots and kills Billy West.
And he just
He's
bleeds oil everywhere.
Shucks. So,
He was a hell of a squealer.
yep. Maybe the best there ever was. We'll send his widow some meatballs. That's why I had to bring it up before. Because apparently Don Pot's really into his meatballs.
Have you been to that meatball place in Rocky River yet?
No.
Me neither.
Was not aware there was a meatball place in Rocky River now.
It's where the hot dog place used to be in Rocky River,
There
but
was
now
a-
it's meatball.
I don't know.
We can
didn't
talk
know there
more
was a
off
hot
mic.
dog place.
We might have to investigate. But as it turns out, Bender's at Family Brothers Pizza right across the street.
Yep.
and apparently has been the whole time. So that Moon Hillbilly was just an innocent husband and father.
Yay.
I mean, I would have to think now that, they think they've killed Bender, but they'd have to assume they're going to cross paths with the Robot Mafia again, right?
It would be a safe assumption considering they have before that
At
they
least
will
like a
again.
half dozen times.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just this was such a madcap, silly episode.
Well, it ends in a very fitting way, which is Bender's going to cut the pizza for everybody to eat and celebrate, and Zoidberg says, "You do, and I'll fucking cut you like a fish." and then Zoidberg snips with his claws the pizza, and
I'm making pizza
Then-
for dinner tomorrow night.
I had pizza tonight.
I'm gonna have to.
I had pork steam buns.
From where?
My freezer.
Damn.
I went to the Asian market and bought a whole bunch of steam buns.
There's a steam bun place in Cleveland Airport now. The
That
problem
makes
is I'm either coming home or leaving, so I'm not there to eat a meal.
Mm-hmm.
But I might have to go early next time because it's called Wow Bao, and
Wow.
looks pretty good. They're stepping it up.
$45 per steam bun.
They're made out of lobster and gold.
I have only eaten at the Cleveland airport once, and I was there with coworkers. I was going to Minneapolis, and I think is there like a Charlie's or like TGI Fridays or some shit in the airport?
There's a lot of things.
And I was like, why are we sitting here eating this garbage?
There's a
in the
Quaker
airport?
Steak and Lube.
It definitely wasn't that. It was like the airport Chili's or something. It was,
There's a Sammy's Beach.
no, it was
the
nothing.
Sammy
It was
Hagar's
like a
Beach
chain
thing.
It was a chain
Oh,
restaurant.
Sammy Hagar's
like-
Beach restaurant is
But it
a
wasn't.
chain.
It was like a common. It was like a TGI Fridays or an Applebee's or some bullshit like that.
I don't think that's
It was a
there
Rockneys.
anymore. Not anymore.
I don't
I don't think
know.
I've
I
ever
don't know.
had Rockneys. But yeah, like I just don't understand why do people eat in the airport unless they're like on a layover?
Because nerds like me, if you're not early, you're late. So
Yeah.
you get to the airport
Yeah.
expecting to be in the TSA line for like 3 hours. So you get
Not
to the
me.
airport like a million years early. And then you're like, shit, I've got 2 hours until my plane leaves. And I've got nothing to do in the Cleveland airport besides look
I
at
guess that
stupid
makes
Rock
sense.
and Roll Hall of Fame t-shirts.
Or the murals. I mean,
We have a big old Superman too now.
not to surprise. It's over by baggage claim though. So if you're past security, you're fucked. I mean, I do spend a lot of time in airports. I can tell you that for me, it is always pleasing to find better than average food in an airport. It is a holy grail.
Cinnabon. That's all I need.
There's a Bar Simon in Cleveland Airport now. That's great. They're opening up a new place called Embers, which looks a little fancy too. Midway has stepped their game up like completely. Like Midway Airport in
Yeah.
Chicago is insane right now with good places to eat.
It looked pretty fancy, but I didn't have much time when I was at Midway to like go do anything. I kind of just went from plane to other plane and got on.
But I don't. So one time, I was at a work function in Dallas with a bunch of coworkers. We had all coagulated in Dallas for a few days for a meeting, and we were leaving. And so we're all going from DFW, and people were in all these different terminals. So I'm there with these two other guys from Iowa. So we're in the same terminal, taking different planes, but whatever. And the one guy was like 22, and the other guy's my age. And we're just like, whatever. It's an airport. It turns out they have a Dickey's barbecue there, so win-win for me. But this kid's like, they have my favorite restaurant at DFW, so we have to go there. I'm like, well, what is it? Chili's. And it was. This is the extent of this guy's like culinary expertise, and like he's in Iowa. But look, I've been to Des Moines. There's a lot of good shit there too. Like you don't have to go to Chili's. But then we got.
I feel like you told me this story.
I'm sure I did. When we got to Chili's, they didn't even have his favorite menu item. I don't remember what it was. It was like the abbreviated airport menu.
floor corn that you got off the floor. Like what else do they serve at the airport Chili's?
Peanut shells and in hot sauce and fajitas. I don't know. I mean, like there's people that look forward to Applebee's as their thing, and that's fine. But like, I need to step it up a little bit because one of the few pleasures I have anymore are the things I put into my mouth. So especially if I've got a limited.
That's what she said.
I know.
I was waiting for it.
I know.
I wasn't gonna do it.
I'm just saying, it's airport time doesn't have to be awful. It often is, but it doesn't have to be. And those are the things you can look forward to. The other thing, just putting this out there, and it might be changing because they're sending these out electronically now in the app, but people will sell United Club day passes on eBay for like $20. $60 for a day pass normally, but when you get in, open bar and snacks for as long as you're there. So if you go early, I try and get my $60 worth of rum when I go in, and it makes everything a lot more pleasant. There with all the business people bumming them out, just stinking and wearing a black T-shirt. So I go undercover. Anyway, those were some fun side jags this time. I enjoyed those. You want to talk about Laverne and Shirley some more?
No.
I do. And you know what a schlemiel and a schlemazel?
House of Pepper Incorporated.
I just realized what that word was like a year and a half ago. I've been watching that show since I was
Really?
5.
Oh,
Yeah.
I figured it out. I don't remember where I figured it out. They do it in Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was in kindergarten when I figured that out because I was obsessed with learning every TV theme show and getting the lyrics right.
Oh, I had
and
a
impressing
CD.
everybody in kindergarten with every theme song.
I had like a 4 CD set of every TV theme song from like 1960 to 1990.
80% of them written by Mike Post.
I know every like one of the discs was like dramas, one was cartoons, one was comedies. It was I know so many fucking theme songs.
Do you want to play Stump the Chump? Do, 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 do. It's from the drama CD, 80s. Anything? Do, 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 do. I can't do the
That one
crescendoing parts.
kind of sounded like Doogie Howser.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
No. That was the second phrase of the other. That was L.A. Law.
Oh.
Doogie Howser was
I don't know
the
if
bleep
LA Law was
bloops.
on there.
Doogie Howser was like proto Radiohead.
Bleep, 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 bleep. Yeah.
The A-Team was basically a foreigner song with no words except for the Ballad of the Green
We had
Berets
to- and-
speech at the
Pretty fair.
beginning.
When I was in college, we had to write, just make up like a MIDI song to show that we knew how to use MIDI.
Yeah.
And I just basically ripped off the Doogie Howser theme song.
And then you basically ripped off the Futurama theme song for
Right.
our show,
Exactly.
What?
which is ripping off another song anyway. So it's
Well, the
fine.
Futurama theme song is ripping off another theme song that
Yeah.
they couldn't afford the rights to.
It wasn't
Or-
a theme
or the
song.
other.
It was just
Or,
a song,
yeah, just
right?
a song, yeah.
That guy, Psyche Rock, is pretty great. Those French composers. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
I'm gonna
Yes.
just change our theme song to "Blinded Me with Science" by Thomas Dolby.
I'd be down.
I don't know why.
But played
'Cause
backwards.
that music video, used to scare me when I was little.
Really?
Because it takes place in like a mental institution.
Yeah.
It's weird. And the one guy like on the and the roof with a jetpack, he's like all crazy. Yeah, it's a.
Well, most people in silent.
And then I watched they have the pop-up video of
find
it.
anything. She's tidied up again.
I mean, see, that just made me think of the old
Anyways.
David Lee Roth videos,
Oh,
which
they
had
were
the
the
little short
best.
films at the beginning.
They were cinematic.
They were. He treated them all like. I think we've gotten past the point where people shit on David Lee Roth. I like to
The
think
man
as a
is a
society
national
where.
treasure.
Well,
He
yeah.
is a treasure.
Yeah, I have his autobiography over here on the bookshelf. It's been out of print for ages. I used to read it annually.
Is that
I-
Crazy from the Heat?
Yeah, I'm probably
Great
probably
book.
due for a
Great book.
reread.
Yeah.
It is fantastic. And that shit was written like 20 years ago. Like, can you imagine what the last 20 years have been?
And anybody who's not read it, the chapters are of weird lengths. Like one chapter might be 3 paragraphs, the next 4 pages, and you can just tell reading it, he is totally high the whole time he's
And
writing.
it is stream of consciousness. Like, it opens with a story about waking up naked in a Montreal hotel room with 2 French strippers covered in money because they stored all their money in their boots. And it's just like, he's like, I wake up in the middle of the night and there's these 2 French girls with me and I'm covered in cash. Life is beautiful. And then the next 15 pages are about how he's a Zionist Jew. Going back to, and he's like, I mean, and it's very well thought out and everything. He's like, I grew up Jewish in Indiana. I was like persecuted and I had the shadow of the Holocaust over my family when they immigrated, and blah, 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 you know, like do this whole thing. Like he's very, very earnest and whatever about it. And then the next page is just like, so I'm holding Eddie Van Halen's head back with a bunch of cocaine at his wedding and we're in the bathroom and Val's down there with the priest waiting for him to show up. It's beautiful. It's so wonderful. And then it's like, you see all this other stuff he's done. And it's like, I almost like it when he, like, someone needs to make a TV show where David Lee Roth is the wacky neighbor. And they wouldn't have to write dialogue for him. They just be like, Dave, you just need to be here for 15 minutes a week when we're filming. Just walk in, say something, and walk out, and it would just be gold.
Just walk through the scene, go, Bozy, Bozy, Bop.
Just say, hey, what are you guys up to? I remember this one time I was fighting a killer whale in the South Pacific on an outrigger canoe. I made it and the whale didn't, man. Sometimes that happens. See you next week. It would just be fantastic. Anyway, wow. Let's finish this up and go talk some more about DLR. Thanks for coming on the show, Matt.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yes, thanks.
Like I said, if anything happens to any of us, you're probably now in line to be on the show just because the way these things work.
I'm like the Secretary of Transportation. 8 people die.
You're the Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, there it is.
You're
Designated survivor.
You're what we call now the best case scenario. But do you have anything that you'd like people to find you on the internet with, or do you want to remain a ghost?
Oh, I'm not here to plug anything. I'm not really here to do anything but nerd out about cartoons.
Cool.
Sounds
That's cool.
good.
Do you want to come hang out with us? Send us a message or a text or an email. You know how to do it.
At slurmcastpod at
You
gmail.com.
don't need to be promoting anything. You just need to watch an episode. Come over.
Yeah, booking guests is a pain in the ass sometimes.
Yeah, I'm kind of tired of asking all of my friends to come on.
Also, I'm having trouble like numbering these episodes when I put them out because we like skipped and then we changed. So, should I go back and I'm asking both you, Pete, and Michelle, and the listeners, should I go back and relabel what is season 7 in what we've already released that is on Hulu? And then start, because I've been putting them out as season 8. So there's like a whole bunch of season 6 and then season 8.
I'd say fuck it, because at the beginning of season 8, I said, and by the way, we're going broadcast now to prevent confusion. So I think if I think people can look at it and go like, oh, I see what they did.
They're bad at math. That's all. Yeah.
Just watch it on Hulu.
Well, like I did show it to somebody who was like, wow, you're on episode 400 and something already. And I was like, no, 403, as in like season 4, episode 3. We haven't done 400 and something episodes. There aren't even that many.
We've just done 100 and it's been excruciating. What's wrong with you thinking we do 400 episodes of this? Crazy.
We use a system where we only count up to like 14.
But when we did start,
24.
someone did email or send us a message and they're like, the first episode I found was 101. Like, do you have any earlier ones? I'm like, no, that's the right one.
episode 1.
101.
Season 1, episode 1.
Which is as good a numbering system as anything, probably. So yeah, slurmcastpod at gmail.com.
That's how they do it in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, it's how
slurmcast.com.
Yeah.
We're on Facebook at Slurmcast. We're on Twitter and Instagram at SlurmcastPod. You can call us, message us, text us, whatever. 216-438-1077.
Our Twitch stream now.
We have a Twitch stream?
No, I'm just kidding.
We could. I could set that up.
Will you? Can we
I
monetize
could.
it?
You know what? We could, and I can, and we should.
Just stream our show live on Twitch when we're recording?
Fuck
Yeah, what do we need to do that?
A camera, and that's it.
What kind of camera?
A camera, like a video
Like a Polaroid camera? Would that work?
A camera that attaches to a
GoPro?
computer. We could probably use that fucking
The
Alexa
Amazon
right
thing?
behind you.
So you can
It
see
looks like it's got a camera. It's
It
got
does.
a camera, right?
You can do video
there you
calls.
go. Use my phone. We could use an iPad,
I have
a laptop.
Actually, I was thinking about because I have. Well, we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Whatever.
Well, if this is another thing we'll plan and never follow through on.
True.
Hey, I'll do it next
Let's do it.
fucking time we record.
Perfect.
If you want.
And then we can start charging. How about that?
It'll be
Fractional
a
sense.
sneaky peeky for people who pay attention. We will have one viewer.
It'll be some creep that already
Yeah.
watches you playing games.
The one viewer
Probably.
that you get is the one viewer you do not want.
Perfect. All right. Well, I think we're going to be recording regularly for the next couple weeks, so hopefully these will be coming out on a regular schedule. Happy New Year, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye bye.